What's going on, guys? ZBrush just crashed on me, so I thought to myself, what a good time to start streaming. So here we are, doing some more stylized female anatomy. But yeah, we're gonna continue working on the gal we've been working on for the past two streams now. Done a little bit of work in between, but most of it I'm gonna kind of be blending in and getting rid of some form. That's actually what caused ZBrush to crash on me, unfortunately. So I just loaded up a recovered Z tool here, and it looks like everything came through. So I'm adding some additional form here. There's some other junk up here, but I'm gonna blend a lot of that, so it's not quite so strong. We want to go for more subtle, bigger shapes. Go for something a little bit more appealing than what we got here. Plus, we need to move some stuff around. Mainly this is all kind of placeholdery. But yeah, we'll take a look at some stuff here and see what we can do. I'm adding in right now the gluteus medius. So gluteus maximus plus fat pads and all that jazz back there, and then this one, whoops, grab my mask lasso here. This one, which attaches to the ridge, upper ridge of your pelvis here, coming back from that iliac crest. It's your gluteus medius. And again, it's got like that ray shape. It kind of tapers down into there, not like that far, but you get the idea. You can see my poly group from that mesh that I just joined in there. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to soften that up and see what I can get that to look like. I also, I've done a lot of other stuff to this since then. I still haven't really done anything with the head. I'm going to get to that later. The shape is very distinct, and I'm going to be careful with that and spend a lot of time on it. But yes, I thinned out the lower leg, which you might notice. Let's see here if I can find our old one. Got a bunch of junk in here. One second. I'll try to find that. Old Z tool, this might be it. Still missing the extra leg, but let me do just, what do we got there? It's the extra geometry. So Shift S, you might be able to see the way I thinned out that bottom leg. Before it was kind of sticking out almost as far as our quadricep up top, that lateral head of the quadricep. So I pushed that in quite a bit, and I adjusted just the overall thickness as well as down to the ankle. So yeah, we're gonna continue making adjustments like that, as well as start to blend in a lot of these larger shapes, like I said. But I like a lot of the stuff that I got going on back here. That crease might be a little too tight for that. Separating the abductors there can kind of soften that as it comes back down, all the way down to there. But I don't want to look at the legs too much. We looked at the legs during our last stream, and now I want to get up to the torso and start getting that in a more refined area. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just remeshing my leg real quick so that I have some subdivs down there before I say goodbye to it. Oh, and by the way, before we get too far, I'll wait a minute just so people have some time to get in here, and I'll make an announcement. As long as I don't forget. I'll try not to forget. Could also merge that knee down into here. I'm not too worried about it because I might want to change it. So really I don't know. Not quite yet. I'm happy with the forms here for the most part. I might want to reestablish some stuff down there in the calf. The gastrocnemius, as it's called. But yeah, let's hide a bunch of placeholder garbage and get to work here. So I've been looking at a bunch of stuff in terms of reference, just of stylized female characters and some other stuff, but I really don't know what I want to do with the torso here. So my first initial thought here is going to kind of split this geometry and get this in here and start blending this. But I kind of want to just merge this. I want to kind of create a planar separation here, which you can kind of see if I drop that down. I kind of started to slide that back and get that in there. So I kind of want to go that direction with it. This is a little distracting, I think, for some people, namely me. And I don't want people coming in saying, "What's going on with your one leg? With your one-legged gal?" Let's mirror that across real quick. Started to do some blocking out on the back. Could do some more back there as well. So we started just getting a little bit of a separation there for the latissimus dorsi, your lats. Kind of just getting an idea of what that looks like. Really even this, really all of this, I kind of just want to blend in and make pretty subtle. I really want to go for. I really want to go for more simple here. And even when I am kind of getting messy here and adding in a bunch of placeholders and geometry, that's really to just kind of help me visualize stuff. So if I kind of hide all this garbage that we don't really need. So like this is kind of me looking at this from the side view and getting an idea of the shape of this, and this shouldn't be convex there, it should, or concave, it should be more convex, like that. Just kind of getting an idea of where I want these shapes to live, kind of blocking out the obliques there. They're really low though, which is why I threw these on top. And some of the things that really help, what I was talking about earlier, is getting some landmarks like the anterior superior iliac crest here, so you can figure out how that abductor kind of forms around that. So that's kind of some of my thought process for this, and I'll continue to make those sorts of changes. So basic process, merging down a piece like this, and let me see where that line of visibility is. Okay. So I'm pretty much good to just kind of smooth this out and or destroy that just to kind of blend it in. So merging these together, dynameshing here, and then kind of working on cleaning up that form. So when doing stylized characters, this is how I like to work. Kind of one step at a time, one piece of geometry at a time, and really figure out these primary forms. So I was trying to keep that really low poly there for the abductors. What's nice with Dynamesh, as long as you don't have poly paint on, you still get your poly groups. So I can select that. If I want to make changes, I can still do that separately. Not quite as high of a resolution as I had when it was separate, but you you still get to have a little bit of a quick selection there for you. For the abs, we'll look at those next. The pecs are just bothering me. I kind of just want to start by getting a really clean planar separation here. And I just kind of quickly threw on some tubes there. I'll Dynamesh them again. I'm just kind of filling in that hole coming up top. Kind of just want that to slot into my basic rib primitive shape that I got there. And then use my pinch brush to kind of really exaggerate our plane change. I'm going to carry that past there, that shape, that line, and then blend that in more. And one thing that I really like to do when I'm working on something like this is grab like your slice curve brush or any other way you want to polygroup a line, an edge. I'm going to use the slice curve brush this time. Follow this line a little bit here. Mirror and weld. And ZBrush with groups turned on. Keep groups. Target poly count all the way down. And grab our Z modeler brush and we'll crease that edge loop there. So crease, edge loop complete. Turn on dynamic subdiv, get an idea of what that shape looks like, and it's a really clean shape. So we can keep working with that. Let me kind of grab a couple of these. I actually want to delete some edge loops. So delete edge loop complete. And there's just a little too much, I think, going on here. Try to get that a little bit closer. Alright. And the lower your topology, typically, you know, the easier to modify this stuff after the fact as well. Less polygons to select. I kind of did a really shitty thing there and just made a poly loop really quick with my slice curve brush. I wouldn't recommend doing that most of the time. It's just faster sometimes. So throw in a couple subdivs in there. Looking at that shape, kind of playing around with it from different angles. Try to widen it out more at the belly. Blend in our obliques. So we can return to that. I'm not comfortable enough to merge that right yet. I want to play with some other stuff first. So the pecs up here, they look real bad. They look real bad. I just kind of plopped them on there. But what this does for us, what this pectoral shape does, is something really cool. It lets us reference that shape against everything else in our sculpt. So some landmarks that we want to get in, some stuff like this bony landmark here that I keep mentioning. The reason why that kind of stuff is important is it lets me know where I want to start putting my abductors. It lets me know what I know what kind of muscles can connect around that point, and where some things should be spaced more appropriately according to that point as well. So that kind of stuff is really important. So even if you just throw something in really quick and it looks like crap, it's still extremely useful. So the shape of our rib cage here, what I'm seeing, one, is that it's still really rounded. I tried to squash this quite a bit more from the side view. Let's do that. So there's our basic rib cage shape there that we're playing with. Pretty angled far back. I might adjust that up some, but at least for the time being I'll just leave it the way it is. So I tried to kind of get some squash going in here, kind of flatten that a little bit more. I think it needs just a little bit more push in that direction. I also sliced off my deltoids of my arms, mainly because I really wanted to work on rounding this shape out better. It was starting to kind of tug out this direction, which is something I want to avoid. I want to keep the roundness of this shape in there really well. I got some stuff kind of covering up some of this in the front and back. There's a lot of crap going on, but we'll work on cleaning all this up one at a time. But yeah, back to what I was saying about kind of using these things positionally with each other. As soon as I threw those pecs in, you know, I could figure out, okay, now I need to get my clavicles into some relative position with my neck. You know, even when you're creating a cartoon character or a stylized character that might have some things that harken to realism and some things that don't. There's definitely a lot you can kind of take from real human beings and apply that to your stylized character. And that could be trying to think of some really good examples of some really, I don't know, if anybody's got some character that they really like that's really appealing that you guys can think of off the top of your head, that still, even though it's like a stylized character, it still holds some anatomical truths in it. Shout them out. But yeah, there's tons of examples, because that's really, I think, what works the best. Bringing in some of these bits of reality into things to kind of make them more familiar. And really, the human body is just, it is beautiful. It's crazy, some of the things that kind of just flow and work together that you don't really think about too often. And then when you see them, you're like, wow, that's pretty dang amazing. And kind of being able to implement some of that stuff into your character can be really useful. So with my clavicle, if you reach up, feel your clavicle. As it comes up, it curves at the end, connecting over to your humerus, as well as your scapula in the back. We can look at some skeletons here. Take a look at the shape of our collarbone. I felt like I said deltoid for some reason, but oh, mouse is drifting. But yeah, if you look from a top view, oh, that spins. No, please stop. If you look from a top view, they have, if you've just seen the thumbnail, they have this curve going up to the deltoid. So 1, 2, 3 lines. So 2 notches, 3 lines. And if you look at it from the front, they're a little bit more straight. They go out, up a little, up and back a little bit, and then straight again. And then there you can see, you know, your humerus, and you might be able to see a little bit of your scapula, your chicken wing. It's a little bit more visible there, connecting up into that point as well. So there you go, clavicle, scapula, and humerus. There's another example. But this guy spins, but maybe that makes it a little bit easier to really see how far back those go. For illustrative purposes. They really almost go, I mean, you can feel it on yourself, like follow the line of your scapula and then draw kind of a straight line up your trap into your neck. And it's like, wow, those go back really, really far. So I threw in a curved tube there, as you can see. Just a quick curved tube, float it back. Just one quick line. I don't know if I want to stylize it that much. I say we try to get the 1, 2, 3 in there, so that would involve, you know, adjusting it this way a little bit. I deleted some edge loops in here so it's a little bit easier for us to work with. But other than that, I'm just going to turn off some extra stuff that's in our way and try to mess with it from the top view, so we can get that 1, 2, 3 little notch. And also from the front, we want to make sure that we're not going too much higher with this. So just some little tiny adjustments to make sure that we don't go too crazy there. So let's go ahead and try to get that extra 1, 2, 3 notches there. And we're going to have to turn our geometry here out. And simultaneously while doing that, kind of getting that little bit of raising up as we go back. I don't want to make this super realistic, so I'm trying to think of ways as I do this that I can kind of stylize this. So previously I had done the single curve. I think that was a little too much, and we can kind of play around with it and hopefully stylize it up a little bit better. I'm going to turn on transparency and ghost mode so that I can pull this back so it's in the correct position there. Begin pulling our shape up in the front. And what this is also going to do for us, what's great about doing something like this, it's also going to allow you to form your other geometry around that. So once we do find that shape a little bit better, we're getting a little messy here, but once we find that shape, we're going to be able to adjust some of these, our other geometry to be more accurate. There's a little piece of geometry floating down there. I guess it was just a little graphical error. And try to get that angle, the angle of these turns a little bit better. I know that we're gonna change this song. That's what I know. Enter the Temple by Zircon. Sounds cool. Turn that on transparency. Got to turn on ghost mode if you want to actually sculpt through the other geo there. Not a big deal for us. Let's actually move this up. And play with that. Typically when I do a clavicle, just to kind of make it easier on me, I'll do something like this. Whoops. And what that allows me to do is now kind of adjust these segments. Always know that that geometry is kind of touching there, and it's a little bit easier to kind of modify and line up with your surface here. So even though it's going deep down into the geometry there, it's not a huge deal because this is the only portion that is visible up on top. So even though we got that down there, not a big deal. And looking at my humerus, I want to see collarbone, écorché. I'm not looking at my keyboard, and I do not normally type without looking. So I'm pretty bad at it. I apologize. This is Raphael Grissati's skeleton and musculature, and I trust this very much. So there's actually, kind of from what I'm remembering, just with the shape of the deltoid, it kind of creates this little bit of a C or a U shape around that that collarbone there. So sitting in there, and then gosh, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me right now. It's like the something divot. It creates a little bit of a divot right there in your deltoid. So so if you see that flat area, there's no muscle on top of that. That's right where your collarbone is. So the arm is, oh god, this is just fucking great. So the collarbone, when you raise your arm up, the collarbone actually spins. It rotates along its long axis, and you can hold your hand on it and raise your arm up. Is it when you raise your arm, or is it when you twist your arm? I thought it was when you raised your arm. Now I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's when you raise your arm. But yeah, so there's this divot back there. That's where your collarbone is. Your scapula, once your arm gets past a certain point, your scapula begins to raise up. Your arm wouldn't be able to, you know, raise all the way up in the air if it weren't for this really complicated mess of joints going on there. So there's some pretty cool stuff going on there. So it creates this, again, this little divot there. I don't know if I'm going to represent that for my stylized character. Maybe a little bit. I don't know, we can see what we can kind of come up with. And try to do something. I recently merged this deltoid in with my upper arm there, keeping some of that form, but I haven't really haven't done too much with my arms, so we're gonna be looking at those as well. I'm gonna be looking at those later. You guys will be watching, but feel free to tell me, hey, that thing that you're doing is dumb. There's a better way to do that. Oh, and I'll probably argue from my stupid way and not listen to you anyway, so maybe don't. Alright. Trying to round this out a little bit better from where I cut that previously. That form change there is pretty sharp and a little too strong. I think my chest is just kind of too thick. I think it's bothering me. What do I want to Google that isn't gonna be explicit? I can't Google female chest. Just female collarbone profile. Side view. I can't use the word profile anymore, apparently, because it's all just garbage Facebook profile photos and all that sort of thing. But yeah, there we go. So my angle on my my chest is really strong, and that's intentional. But I think we can keep that angle and get rid of some of the roundness in there. So let's try to do that a little bit here. Now when I do this, it's gonna, you know, break some of this stuff, so let's just hide this for now. And you know what, I'll keep that on while I make these changes, just so I can see what's going on here. If I select a brush and I see a loading icon, that like scares the crap out of me because I think ZBrush is gonna crash. Anytime you do something really mundane or normal in ZBrush and it takes a little bit longer to load than usual, I'm like, oh, crash? You gonna crash? You gonna crash on me? Typically the answer is yes. And I'm doing a really kind of sharp turn of the surface there of the chest. So I'm going to bring in the rib cage a little bit. But to do that, I need a lower subdiv to work with. Want to make sure that keep groups is not turned on. Because we could get some really weird poly loops up in there. We want to avoid that. Well, I can't see. Trying to change the music as fast as possible. I think this is like a chill station, and that last song was like... I felt like I was listening to I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. See if our arms line up now. These are not going to line up at all. It's not too bad. What up, Mysterious? Welcome back, yo. Glad to always have you with us. Ben needs to shave, guys. The scruff is getting too much. The scruff is enough. Enough of the scruff. Ah, that's right. Mysterious. I forgot. I gotta do roll call at the beginning of these. Or at least once we get into it a little bit. Let's see. I'm always down to watch you sculpt while I'm sculpting, but you know what you're doing. That's not always true, though. It's, I think sculpting is problem solving. You know, there's really not that many tools that you gotta know in ZBrush to be proficient, I would say. Really, it just comes down to using those tools and really understanding them. It's not that many. It's just that a lot of this stuff is convoluted, right? And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Now that I've reformed this, I kind of want to redo the slicing and dicing of my deltoid here. Now I got some misaligned junk back here. I'll try to blend it, even though we're just in a crappy Dynamesh right now. Your sculpts are like the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. Inevitably you choke. It kind of sounds like you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, but just a very sad Atlanta Falcons fan. Which I don't know if that's just kind of repetitive in me saying a very sad Atlanta Falcons fan. That might just be... like, I might as well just say an Atlanta Falcons fan. I don't actually know if that's true or not, though. Maybe you can enlighten me on that. Trying to block in where those teres muscles will be located, your major and minus, which go from around the bottom of your scapula, connecting to your humerus. So many things connect to your humerus. Up top, anyway. Go Broncos from Denver. Maybe not this year. Super Bowl 50. Yeah, I'm not a football boy. I don't typically watch the big game, the big ball game as they call it, here in the United States of America. Or at least I didn't watch it last year. Watch for the commercials with too much CG. Your videos are pretty damn helpful. Thank you, man. My problem is I never know exactly which tutorial to watch when I get to a certain point. Like sculpting hair. Yeah, there's just so many ways to do things. It can definitely be tough. I like to use, if I'm sculpting hair, start creating big blocked out shapes with my curved tube brush. But yeah, you know, figure out what tool works for you and play with it a lot. It's what works for me. But that doesn't mean that, you know, that technique necessarily will work for you. Like you said, you never know which one to watch, but really I feel like it's very rare, I would say, that I look up a tutorial for something like how to sculpt hair, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other examples, but it's rather rare that I would do that for something like that, because I would take just, you know, I use the curved tube snap brush a lot, and I would play with that until I got to, you know, it's about playing and experimenting, which is how we got Anton. If you remember, you were around when we were working on him. Where's the ZBrush file? It's not that big. I'll just open it real quick. You know, all this stuff here, all of that is pretty much the same strategy as the curved tube snap brush, and a lot of it is the curved tube snap brush. I don't know, it was just like me trying a thing, and I pushed it until it worked. Pushed it as hard as I could. Until I got tired of pushing on it, and then I, you know, abandoned it. But look at that, there's so many of these. Oh no, what's going on? Crap. Clear that layer. But yeah, there's a lot of junk in there. A lot of junk in this guy's hair trunk, so to speak. Spychar, welcome back, dude. Are you using sub Ds along with Dynamesh? Isn't there a shortcut to show a quick high-res preview while Dynameshing? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by that. A quick high-res preview. Are you just talking about like the dynamic subdivision? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Too many shortcuts to remember with my aging, middle-aged brain. Yes, the curved tube snap brush is pretty dope. I'm a fan. I am a fan. But yeah, what's going on, Spychar? Welcome to the stream. Time to force the surface to turn. That was kind of effective. You meant something not low res, 128 Dynamesh. You can read Dynamesh by control clicking and dragging off of your screen like this. Is this what you mean? This one right here? That's why I like the mask lasso as well. You can do all sorts of fun little shapies with that. But you know, if you're gonna Dynamesh right, you gotta make it good. I'm just gonna watch some of your tutorials and I'll get back to you. Too many questions will become annoying. You're fine. You're fine, dude. That mask was kind of phallic. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do such a thing. A lot of pinching going on up through here. It was messed up, went back to 2D drawing for a while today and found myself wishing my pencil had trim dynamic capabilities. I've been spoiled by too many awesome tools. Yeah, that's why I like 3D over 2D. Not necessarily for the awesome tools, but I don't know, when you're doing 2D, it's like a line feels like it has to be more perfect and more final. Whereas with sculpting, you really kind of work the form and work it up in levels, starting with really simple shapes and going up through the rankings as you do. I don't know, with 2D I've never really felt the same workflow was possible for me. I'm sure I could, you know, spend enough time to develop a workflow and really probably figure it out, but I don't know. All the eggs are in one basket. Wanted to ask about the damn standard brush. Sometimes it carves into the surface when it's supposed to be lifting it, and not because the Z add or Z sub is on or off. Why? Yeah. I've actually experienced that problem as well, and not just with the damn standard brush. Typically what happens is I'll be sculpting, and all of my brushes will get flipped. So, I don't know what causes it. I think it's just a little bit of a glitch in 4R8P2. It's happened to me like a few times. Next time it happens to you, try to see if it's happening to all your other brushes as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan when that happens. Typically I just restart ZBrush and all my brushes get fixed up by doing that. The default strength for the damn standard is like really freaking high. Like, drop that down, please. I don't really use the damn standard brush very much. I like my brush more. I don't know. It's just not quite as sharp. It's like a more softer divot. And it's really cool for like creating hair textures. Not that, you know, we need to be creating hair textures on the leg here, but you know, I like it a lot. That's why I use it. Okay, so we've modified our chest. Our deltoid is like smooshed because I kind of smooshed it back. Trying to get that to transition a little bit better. I'm gonna kind of either just polygroup this or re-disconnect it now that we've made the changes, because it looks really awkward. And I need to get the bicep subducting under the deltoid and the deltoid over top of the bicep. And it's going to be a lot easier to capture that with additional tools, separate tools. Plus, I haven't taken these out of Dynamesh yet, so not really hurting anything. I don't know if you guys were around for the morning stream when the people were working on my roof, but it was a good time. We had a lot of fun there. We got some work done, which is a miracle, really, when you think about it. Yeah, I had people like right above my head. Excuse me, right above my head, banging around. It was a good time. If you missed the last stream, go check it out. If you make your preliminary mesh with Z-spheres, is there a way to split the thing into different subtools? I assume there'd be a group split. Yeah, that's actually exactly it. As long as everything's in different polygroups, the way you want it to be split. So like this, if I wanted to like split that across the body, mask it, Control W to create a poly group. Go into my modified topology, where I don't remember where. Here, split, the split functionality. So group split, that one. Hold Control over a button in ZBrush and it'll tell you more about what it does. Split selected Z tool up into separate subtools passed on the polygroups. So polygroup. It'll split those into separate subtools. So yeah, that works. If you saw what I just did to the deltoid there, I just kind of, you know, masked it off and made a polygroup and split it manually because there was a bunch of other derpy polygroups down here that I didn't really care for. I don't really use group split very often. I kind of like to be more in control of my splitting of my subtools, just to make sure that I don't have any weird floater geometry or anything like that. If you use group split a lot, you'll come up with stuff like that. Plus, I prefer to kind of be in control of my organization of my subtools. So like, if I press up, my deltoids are up there, because I split the bicep or upper arm from the deltoid. So the deltoid's on top. Which is systematically, you know, deltoid is physically on top, and it's also on top in the list. So, trying to just, that's how I try to work top to bottom for my characters. Obviously, I don't care about names of literally anything. As you can see, almost everything in here is named PM3D Sphere or some variation of it. Because guess what? It was all made with a sphere. All of this is just, you know, formed from spheres. So I don't really care about subtool names. It doesn't really help me organize anything by naming them. Only time I name them is at the end of a process, if I'm going to export objects for 3D print, or separate subtools for rendering, or whatever. You need food. Yeah, if you want to see how to split manually, I just did it again with my deltoid from my upper arm. But yeah, so just grab one piece and go to split hidden. And that's also in your split menu down there. Jin, would you ever sell your work or work for someone? Would you ever sell your work or work for someone? I do and have done both of those things. I used to work full-time working on toys and life-size characters for all sorts of stuff. But yeah, so I did that full-time for a little while and left at the end of, or beginning of 2017. And I do sell some of my work as digital files. I have a Patreon and a Gumroad. If you want like some nice, let's see, it's impossible for me to see past my Cintiq when I'm sitting like this, being a lazy boy. But yeah, if you go to my Gumroad, there's some paid content on here. This is all packages from my Patreon, so a bunch of 3D models. This is a base mesh, and you know, my materials that I'm always sculpting with. So I typically use, you know, my Follygon clay colored or my black and white clay. I like my black and white clay a lot more though. But the colored one's still fun, just to like change your perspective. And then here are my main sculpting brushes. So that's like what I sell. Other than that, there's just my Patreon, which we just got a new patron. Yay! Yay, new patrons. I need to push out a new content package for this month, actually, for any of my patrons watching. We will have a new one of those coming out here soon. Recently I switched my Patreon to be no longer monthly, and I'm probably, you know, it's still gonna be once a month, but sometimes it might be a little bit less than once a month for packages. And I kind of wanted to do that so I could work on longer term projects without feeling pressured to always just like do a bunch of little sketches to try to rush a content package or something like that. Plus, the quality of content from something like that just isn't, you know, it's not the same. So, but yeah, Jin, glad to have you with us. Ever use the clay spin brush? Probably like once, and I hated it. It sounds really stupid. I find it superior to the clay tubes. I like the clay buildup. Clay spin. I'll check it out real quick. Just by the name of it, I already hate it. How much would it cost for you to make me a sculpt and coloring of a character? $4 billion. 4 billion with a B. No, man. Or gal, whomever you may be. Shoot me an email on my... go to my YouTube page, which you're watching on YouTube now. Go to my About page on YouTube, and my email for business inquiries is on there. Shoot me an email, send me some pictures of your character, what you're using it for, if you want it for 3D print, or I don't know, send me all that info, and I'll be able to give you an estimation of time. But yeah, welcome to the stream though. Either way, glad to have you with us. Oh, I'm sorry, clay spin. Thank you for reminding me. I'll check it out. It's in Lightbox. The only good brushes in the Lightbox are like the slash brushes, because they deprecated them. But I think I actually don't even know if they're still in there. We'll look at that real quick. Where am I looking? In clay, I guess. Clay spin. This looks so dumb. This looks so bad. Just on the thumbnail. Looks like a trim brush. Oh, it's so dirty. It's very textured though. Let me see something real quick. So, fun fact, the clay spin brush is the clay buildup brush. Boom. Clay buildup brush with a brush modifier on it to create that spin. I don't know if it's the twist rate or not. I can try that. I don't know what modifier it is that's doing that, but that's all it is. It's just the clay buildup brush. But yes, don't use the clay spin brush. Use the clay buildup brush. If you like the clay spin brush, I think you'll like the clay buildup brush a lot more. The clay buildup brush is... The clay buildup is even more popular than the clay tubes. I just kind of prefer the clay tubes personally. But yeah, try out the clay buildup Mysterious. I think you'll like that one a lot. A little bit nicer. Yeah, I meant to say clay buildup. Jin. It's just follygon@gmail.com. But yeah, dude, look. Also, while you're there, I don't know if you're a ZBrusher yourself. Well, logged onto the wrong channel there. Let's see. View email address. Follygon@gmail.com. Follygon. And then, yeah, if you don't find what you're looking for, check out the ZBrush Discord and join that up. Hit up some people on there. Not to de-solicit myself or anything like that. Really trying to get that tuck under there. Play with that. Are you a brush snob? No, I'm not a brush snob. It's just that... freaking... go away. What the hell? Why is that stuck? Look how many brushes are in here. I think these are like... down to here. Pretty much all of those are default brushes. Which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of default brushes in ZBrush. And a lot of them just aren't, you know, aren't super necessary. Like the spiral brush. The spiral brush is pretty neat for some really specific stuff, maybe. If you're gonna do it maybe with hair or something. Or maybe you can do that. Do that thing I just did. I don't know. Yeah, there's some really specific use cases for those. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in there though, for sure. Oh, John! I think it's been a while, man. Just a regular snob. That's true, I guess. Shader map. Want to learn ZBrush but don't have the brain cells to learn a new program. I think there's always, you know... Well, I mean, you know what? I always say that, like, you're gonna do what you want at the end of the day. So, you know, do what you want, I guess. My schmutz from my hands has gotten all over my Cintiq. Just a regular snob, huh? That's not very nice, though. That's not a nice thing that nice people say. Let's get a little step back here and look at the stylized anatomy that we are creating. Let's turn off that color. So we spent a lot of time cleaning up the legs. I actually want to thin those out on that lateral side there. As that comes in, I want that to come in a little tighter, a little faster. Starting to get a pretty good flow here. I might exaggerate that concavity there a little bit more. We have a good angle going on here in the legs. From our side view, let's turn our arms off. We've kind of messed with the arch of our back. Lessening that and playing with that shape. I still want to change the planes of the butt to not be so rounded, and I kind of want to flatten it so it's not such a simple shape there. Everything has these, like if you look at the lower or the upper leg here, it's got this really subtle S curve going on. And even up top, you know, a little bit more drastic. Trying to capture that in everything that we do a little bit. And we haven't looked. We haven't been looking at our back too much this stream, which, you know, isn't the end of the world, but... But, speaking of butts... I'll just do some quick clips here. Let's just kind of manually do this so we don't exaggerate it too much. Camera is freaking out on me. Let's see. Oh man, I've missed all the messages here. Okay, say John is back in the biz, busy with some new projects. Things are going great, man. Mysterious is over 40, and he's learning, and believe me, it's harder when you're older. Your brain's just a big old baked potato, he said. You guys can't scroll up like I can, if you're watching in the past, but if you're watching in the stream, maybe you can. Dadgummit. Isn't it dadgummit? Dadgummit? I don't know. I'm not old enough to know the terminology, I guess. I always thought it was dadgummit. You do sound very old when you said dadgummit, though. Dadgummit. I'm gonna start incorporating that into our streams. Which one will be better and affordable? Better, Cintiq. More affordable, shouldn't point with that finger, Huion. Bamboo will do the job for you. Absolutely. You still don't do Retopo and UV yet. We can collab on something for Steam Workshop. You kids get off my lawn. I will not be getting off. You're actually on my lawn right now, so how about you, you cool your grill there, bud. Cool your grill there, bub. For the Retopo UV, no, dude. Doing stuff for high-res 3D printing. Kind of what I've been doing my whole career. What I've done full-time for a little bit. But yeah, man, if you want to... I used to have a bunch of free stuff on my Gumroad. It's kind of lesser quality though, so I removed it. But if there's something you want, you can hit me up. I can let you know. Let you know what I'm willing to part with. A lot of people, I think, come on here and YouTube, at least in the last, I don't know, X amount of years, 5, 10 years, it's all gaming now. That's like 90% of what YouTube is. And really that's apparent by, you know, the YouTube streaming service, which is called YouTube gaming, right? And a lot of people come in here and they think 3D modeling, it's for games. It's games. Is it games? It's games, right? Games? It's like, well, actually, no. I worked and continue to work. I worked full-time doing stuff for toys. Now I do that on the side. But, you know, there's other applications for 3D modeling. And we got our printer coming soon. SLA, baby. SLA. And that's going to be totally awesome to have. I'm so excited. It's called the Bean 3D printer. I'll show that off on a stream. Maybe do a really shitty unboxing video, which would be a lot of fun, guys. Everybody loves some real shitty unboxing videos. Just look at what's his name? iDubbbz, which people just kind of discovered with Content Cop and all that. But yeah, got to start doing a bunch of. Well, we didn't get to start doing unboxing, bad unboxing. We did a bunch of fun stuff like that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Content Cop and you'll find him. Try to change our angle here. Maybe blend that in. Let's see here. Do you work for anyone right now? Not full time. You can retopo your models that you do and sell it on stores like Unity or Unreal. You absolutely can. Mysterious Animator says, "Get off my lawn and I hate Let's Players. I hate those dang Let's Players playing their dadgum video games." Me too. I think they should all get off our lawn. Those people don't create anything. Unboxing is even lazier. Yet people still watch the content. Yeah, that's more of, I think more of just entertainment that people are seeking. And entertainment, people don't watch. I would say a majority of the time people aren't watching for the actual game. You know, it's good to play. I think for those type of content creators, play some concurrent games that people are searching and everything. But you know, I think a lot of the time people just watch for that specific creator. People watch Game Grumps for the Game Grumps. People watch Jacksepticeye for Jacksepticeye, etc. Oh my god. Yes, Dynamesh. That is what I wanted, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I think the people that are successful in it, I wouldn't call them lazy by any means. I think there's still a lot of hard work that goes into creating content that people enjoy watching. Either way, you know, I don't think it's easy, and that's why not everybody does it. I think you can actually figure that out for yourself if you just like Google gameplay of any game and scroll through like the top, I don't know, 20 videos and look at all the YouTube channels that have 5 subscribers. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to quickly discover that one. Speaking of rocket science, ZBrush is much more technical and difficult than rocket science or brain surgery. I want to go back to the Renaissance period, back in the Dizzle, where art and science was one, and art was looked upon as greatly as science, you know? Back in the day, like a doctor and an artist were like equals. Just because of the amount of study and knowledge and practice that goes into the thing. And I think a lot of people don't think that way anymore. Or at least a lot of people that aren't artists don't think that way anymore. But all the other artists out there are like, hell yeah, dude. Learning art sucks. It takes forever. And I think anybody who uses ZBrush for the first time gets a little taste of that. And they're a little put off. Not to say that ZBrush is a perfect program by any means. So I wanted to ploop in some fingies. I have a brush. I have a brush for that. I have a fingy brush somewhere. I got this off of Gumroad. I can't remember the artist, but if you search for, what is it? JS IMM Fingers Toes. JS IMM Fingers Toes. You should find it on Gumroad. But yeah, throw that guy a couple bucks and grab his brush. Pretty quick and easy to work with. I like it a lot. iDubbbz is the man. Okay, say John is off to work on some CSGO skins. Well, that doesn't sound like very fun. Keep on the good work, dude. You keep on the good work as well. Shoot your skin images over in the ZBrush Discord. I'd love to see some skins, some skinny boys. Artist witchcraft, burn him. Burn her. She weighs more than a duck. I don't know if anybody's... Oh, I didn't mean to delete that. I don't know if anybody has, you know, rewatched any of the, I can't remember the, who's the comedy group? The, British comedy group. Oh my gosh, this is gonna bother me so much. Somebody help me. That does the, and I can't even remember the name of the film. But anyway, I haven't seen it in quite a long time, which is why I can't remember the name of it. Plus, I'm doing like 10 other things, trying to think about 10 other things at the same time. So carrying a conversation for me is like sculpting and talking at the same time. I don't know what that's like. It's like impossible. That's what it's like. Monty Python and the quest for the... I knew it was something to do with the Holy Grail, but yeah. Monty Python and the quest for the Holy Grail. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Or at least it was back in the day. I don't think it's aged very well. And even back then, I don't think... I don't know. Silly humor is kinda... I don't know if it was ever in fashion. But yeah, again, this brush is just really good at getting out some fingers real quick. Or at least the basic shapes of some fingers. I don't know if I'm going to use this because I have a few hand sculpts that I typically rotate between as bases and then kind of work them from there. And that's typically faster than what I'm doing right now. I don't know. I just wanted to show you guys this brush either way. Blasphemy. Yeah, so many people love Monty Python. I think it's pretty shit. Yeah, that's just my opinion. And everybody's got one. Monty Python's real good when you're real drunk. Let's say that. Okay, you can have that one. All right. Then it's just hilarious. Very easily quotable. Very easy to remember. Literally almost every line. You can quote your Black Knight scene. You can quote your Castle Anthrax scene. Your Crazy Rabbit. I don't even know what it's called. The Bloodthirsty Red-Eyed Rabbit. Unsubscribe! Do it! I dare you. I stand by it. Everyone else, tell me the things that you love so I can tell you how much I hate them. Get everyone to unsubscribe before the end of the night. Pretty basic block shape for the hand that I built earlier. It's just kind of a square that I inserted a cube, and kind of play with tweaking our shape a little bit, rounding some things out, filling in some geometry where we could use it. Chopping and lopping off stuff that we don't need. That looks like a big poo. Yes. Perfect. Just the way I wanted it. I couldn't imagine this going any other direction on this poem. Oh wait. But wait, there's more. why I normally don't work on my right hand. I'm right-handed. But my other hand's on my keys anyway. I don't know why that 2-pad... Oh, actually it's not a... Is there a thumb? Yeah, I don't know. I can't look right now. But it's super long because it's supposed to be an actual finger. But yeah, you can just shorten it and use that insert to make a thumb. Yeah, it's just supposed to be a 2-pad finger for toon-style characters. Really, I don't know. Spychar says, you love Blender? Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Blender's just garbage. You should uninstall it. Delete Blender, never use it again, and leave this stream and never come back. Just get out. Just get out. Only use ZBrush. ZBrush is the only program that you should ever use, ever. You can quote me as saying that. Ever use Smooth Valleys? Si, senor. I have used the smoothing of the valleys. To smooth out your high-res mesh. Not for that purpose. You find it lacking? Yeah, so do I. Wondering if there's a better brush for that. Maybe Trim Dynamic. That's what I like to use, Trim Dynamic. But I don't know. I find it rare that I'm in a situation where I have a high-res mesh and I need to smooth out a bunch of stuff on it. That's a semi rare case. I really dislike sculpting hands because it's like sculpting a face, except nobody freaking cares and looks at your hands very closely. So if you just kind of like do a decent job on them, it's okay. Nobody's like squinting and zooming in on your hands too crazy. But we're gonna do a real good job on our hands for this character because we just want to do a really good job on this character overall. Holy schmauzow. Just to get that into a basic position there. Tweaked a little bit. I have a bunch of, like I said, a bunch of hand models, so I'll probably end up grabbing one of those later. The Xeon Cutter Brush is ridiculous. Ridiculous probably in a bad way. I don't know what that brush is. You can let me know where you found it, and I'll use it real quick. Alright guys, so we've kind of looked at redefining our chest, redefining the major shape of our rib cage there. think the tum is next on our list of things we want to tackle here, but we're close to the time mark here. So I'm gonna jump on out of here in a little bit. So I'm gonna work on this tum for a little bit, and maybe grab this Xeon cutter brush and head on out of here in a little bit. So let me know if you guys got any cues or anything, as always. How do I send you a web address to get? Oh, it's a brush you have to download. This is how you send me the web address. Xeon cutter. It's a weird way to spell Xeon. Ooh, I do actually kind of like that. So what's going on there is that's like the damn standard brush, or pretty close to my my sharp soft edge brush, but it has a really nice tight pinch there, and then it feathers off the transition really well from there. So really tight and then feather out. I actually kind of like that cut in. I don't know what I would maybe use that for the build up, but yeah, that's real nice. I do like that a lot. That's cool. I pretty much achieved this with 2 other brushes, so you could use the damn standard brush, and we'll copy him a little bit, you know. So with the damn standard brush, you can see the brush alpha there, really bright in the middle, and then it has a little bit of fall off. So it's pretty similar to the damn standard brush already, but then it's just really tight in that inner area. And you can retrace this line manually if you would like, which is going to give you a really close result to what we just saw there. You can also use your lazy snap, which I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, pretty much the same effect there. We could mess with the fall off on the damn standard brush if we wanted to, or just kind of smooth it out. I like to use the least amount of brushes possible, and then really and this is really kind of pretty close to the damn standard brush. It's just pretty clean, which makes me like it. But yeah, I don't know. Damn standard brush, if I want that result, I can get pretty close to that. And then again, we'll open up our sidebar for our alpha. God, I cannot move my mouse. But you can just modify your alpha on the fly here. So you can modify a bunch of stuff in here. We can maybe make our fall off a little bit more. I actually don't know if I have to apply this because I don't use these options too often. No, it is working, it seems. So yeah, you can do stuff like add noise to it, Let's mess with the fall off a little bit more. Really increase that. I don't know if it's working from what I can tell. It might be like too far towards the center of the image for it to really affect it. I know there's some options here. That you can really mess with to get some really interesting effects off of a single alpha really quick. So maybe play around with those, but yeah, like I said, I don't know. If one of my brushes, if I can capture it without using another brush, I typically will. Oh, and my neck is killing me. Apparently there are 2 different damn standards, and I didn't even notice. I don't know what you're talking about. I think there's only one damn standard brush. There's only one damn standard. The Damien standard brush. Unless he's like updated or created different ones. It's pretty much just the standard brush with like an alpha on it and I think some slight brush modifiers adjusted on it. That's what pretty much all my brushes are. If you're talking about the B damn standard brush, that is my brush. That's not a default one. I just use that one because I have it tweaked to just work better with my personal workflow. So I don't have to always go in and always, you know, adjust the exact same settings all the time. So I want to adjust the under the rib and belly area, adjust my arms, elbows looking dumb, forearms looking okay from the front angle. Like the silhouette's not bad, but I still want to adjust a lot of the shapes going on there. I want to adjust up here around the collarbone more. Get closer to placing some breast in. Clean up some of this junk back here. Junk in the trunk, aka one of the 4 major, just the pillars of the back here, one of the 4 major muscle groups that are located on the back, including the triangle shape that you get from the trapezius, kind of like this. I've extended it out there, and we'll kind of blend that a little bit better once we dynamesh that in. Your terrace shapes, and then your trapezius. So trapezius laterals, I can't remember the name of the pillars, but they're just typically called the pillars of the back, and then your terrace muscles. So I got the 4 major muscle groups in there. There's some underlying stuff that gives a little bit of shape, but for a stylized character, we're going to avoid that. And just let the shape of the rib cage do most of it. But yeah. EP. What playlist are you listening to? Go to app.pretzel.rock/player. I made a note. I made a specific note to figure out if I could get this into Restream. And link that in. I know that I can get it with Twitch, so it shows what music's playing. But yeah, this is the chill station. So go there, select your track or your playlist, whatever you want to do. And yeah, go ham. We're listening to chill right now. Sometimes it's not so chill. Sometimes it's a little crazy. But yes, after this stream, I promise I will actually look into getting that into Restream. I have a feeling that I might not be able to sync that up. But I'll find out for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good place for us to cut off. Sorry for people that are just popping back in and joining us. But yeah, we've done a lot tonight. We're at about the 2-hour mark, and my neck is not feeling great. So I think that's the cue, guys. I think that is the cue. But in the next stream, we'll look at the belly area more. Again, the arms, looking at that elbow. And really just kind of cleaning this up and getting this to a really nice place before I go to finally work on the head. So working on all this, and then we'll go back up top. But yeah, hope to see you guys in the morning stream tomorrow or in the next night stream if you are around. If not, no big deal. All the YouTube stuff or all the stream stuff, wherever you guys are watching, gets uploaded onto my YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, you can check it out there. But yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next stream tomorrow. Later, guys.